Hello and welcome to this video for the Hub Bootcamp. At Bootcamp, we're going to have some sessions that focus on Achieve and using Achieve. And so to make sure that you get the most out of those sessions, we want to make sure that you're all coming in with a basic understanding at least and familiarity of Achieve. We know not all of you may have had your trainings with our specialists and our in-house experts. So we're providing this just to make sure that you have a way to just get up to speed if you need it. I want to really encourage you, if you are adopting Achieve, absolutely schedule that training. I'll share the link for that at the end. If you have already used Achieve, if you have already had your training, you certainly don't need to watch this video. And if you're not adopting Achieve, you don't need to watch this video as well. You're welcome to, but you don't have to. So I'm going to dive in today. My goal is to get you familiar with navigating around the main navigation panel in Achieve, and then a brief intro to writing tools. So this is what I see when I first log in, and I'm going to go into my course for the Hub. When you first log in, this is your home page, but I'm not actually going to start there. The first thing I want to show you is this button. This will always take you back to your course list, so you should know about that. And the second thing I want to tell you about is the help icon. I really encourage you to use this. There are some, this is not a good page to show you the help on, but when you expand this, you get this link to the full Achieve knowledge base. And this is searchable. This is a really great source. The articles are thorough. You can contact customer support here. There are often videos in them that are very helpful. So don't hesitate to poke around here for a few minutes if you just need a little help getting one answer, one solution. A really great place for you to start. The other thing that I want to say is integration. A lot of people wonder if Achieve integrates with their campus learning management system, Canvas, Blackboard, D2L, whatever you use. Yes, it does. Talk to your local representative about it, and they can help you get that started and get that set up. So the first thing I'm going to show you really quickly is the ebook. It is included in Achieve. You will find it here in this tab. It's pretty, I hope what you would expect an ebook would give you. Your table of contents to navigate via is here on the left. We can click in and just see what the reading environment looks like. Go to the next page. You can jump to a page using this box here. You can highlight with a couple of different colors. You can add notes. They're all collected for you in the notebook. It can be downloaded for offline use. Anything, any notes or highlighting you make offline will sync up when you get back online, and it can be read to you aloud. So that's just really brief coverage of the ebook. Next, I'm going to show you the resources tab. This is going to be where you'll look through the Hub content. This is where all of the content is. So if you're looking for something to add to your course, you're going to look here. Come here to find it. First, I want to point out this welcome unit. So when I select something over here, you will see that it starts to populate in this filtered area. And I want to point this out because the instructor's manual lives here in this welcome folder. This is such an important piece of the Hub, such an important tool. I wanted to point it out. When you click this, a PDF will download and you will have the whole instructor's manual available to you. Within the instructor's manual, there is project by project, topic by topic guidance, instructor's material. This is also where you will find the sample schedules that Peter has written for each of the 7 projects. So know that it lives here if you need it. There are also other really helpful things in this folder. If you're first getting started with writing assignments, here's a guide to creating and editing writing assignments. These are really great articles, and I encourage you to use them. Now, when you are browsing around in here, you may have noticed that I've been using filters. You can filter by content type, which is really handy. You can also filter, by diagnostic or writing assignment. And speaking of diagnostics, I do want to point out this folder here. I'm not going to dive into these today. Talk to your rep if you want to learn more, but these are really great pre-tests that the student would take on generic content. It is not hub content. It's going to be grammar diagnostic focused. Um, and based on the students' results from those tests, they'll get an individualized study plan. This is a really wonderful tool. If you want to learn more, absolutely contact your rep or talk to me or Amy. So next up, I'm just going to filter by writing assignment to show you. Here we have these assignments were pre-built for the hub from the hub content. Any assignment that is pre-built, you can take and you can edit fully. I will show you that at the end of this video. You can create your own writing assignment completely. You can do that here using this create content button. When you choose that, you would just choose writing assignment. Assessments and writing assets are things I'm not going to cover today, but you can also upload files into Achieved to use in your course. You can add links. So here is where you would do some of that adding to make the course a little bit more your own. Next, I'm going to go over into that My Course tab, finally. So you can change what you're looking at, how you're viewing the content in a couple of different ways. You can view by assignments, and they've got them organized by date. You can view by resource type, so readings, writing assignments, assessments. And then you can view your course content. So this is your course as you've laid it out. It's really easy to add content here from the content library, that resources panel we were just looking at from your content. You can easily move items into a folder. You can move folders around. You can do all of your course organization here. You would go into these three dots, reorder item, and it's very easy. Now notice that you do have this remove item option here. I just want to point out, if you remove it here, you're only removing it from your course. You're not removing it from Achieve. You're not removing it from the resources library here that we looked at together. It will still be available to you if you ever wanted to add it back in. One thing I'll say while I'm on this screen is I have my course set up the way I have it set up. You can choose to create your course from scratch, or you can use a pre-built course. The pre-built course contains 3 projects, projects 1, 5, and 6, which is about a semester's worth of material that we have put into a course and made available to you to use in the order, in the way that Peter outlined it in his sample schedules for those projects 1, 5, and 6. Now, if you choose to use the pre-built course, you can modify, change, add to, delete from that course as much as you want. You can make it your own. You're not locked into it. And it's just a matter of whether you want to start from a somewhat populated course and make it your own, or start from scratch and make it your own. Over here, we do have some additional tabs I'm going to sort of fly through. We have a gradebook. Of course, we have a gradebook. You can view grades by percent or by points. You can sync and export it if you're using iClicker, which comes free with Achieve. It's built right in. You can add categories. This is my assignments category. And we also have the People tab. This is where your roster of students will be, where you can invite students. And we also have, I do want to point out this Groups tab. You would come here to create groups for peer review in writing assignments, which I'll show you at the end. I'm not going to get into peer review, but that is where you would create the groups. And then you do have the student preview button here. So if you want to just make sure everything looks the way you want it to look when your student is in Achieve and working, you can use that, and that's a really quick and easy way to see what they're seeing. Finally, this reports tab, I'm going to save till the very end, so I'll come back to that. So now I'm going to go back into my resources tab, and I'm going to go into the writing assignments with you. I'm going to show you the elements of a writing assignment in Achieve and what it looks like to leave some feedback. This is just kind of the basic intro to writing assignments. We really focused on making sort of a seamless multi-draft writing environment that focuses on revision and reflection. And so to get into there, I'm going to pull up my writing assignments. And I'm just going to go into this essay. This is a pre-built writing assignment for the Hub. The first thing you should notice is that everything is editable for you. Pre-built, but not locked in at all. So if you click edit, you can change the title. I'm not going to. The second thing I want you to know is that these 3 panels across the top will always be the same for you. You'll always be able to see the prompt. You'll always be able to come to the submissions tab. Of course, I don't have any submissions yet, and the reports tab. I'll come back to that at the end. But back here in this prompt tab, you have your overall assignment prompt. You have full editing capabilities. You put anything that you need to put here. One thing that's cool is it autosaves as you type. So you can see it saving here. Okay, your work is saved. Next, there's the rubric. We have a library of maybe 15 or 20 rubrics for some of the most common writing assignments. You can choose one of those to use. You don't have to use a rubric. You could choose no rubric. You could create your own entirely, or you could choose one of ours and choose edit. And then that would unlock everything, including the ability to add more columns and rows. Everything opens up to make it for you to make it your own and make it work for you and your students. I'm not going to do that. The next element here is the source check that I want to tell you about. This is our plagiarism detection. We have built it in a little bit differently than what you might be used to. When we were designing Achieve, working with instructors to test it, make sure it really worked for what you needed, what we kept hearing is that students just didn't realize they were plagiarizing, and by the time they turned their paper in, it was too late. So what we have done is we've built it into drafts. You can turn it on for students if you want to give them the ability to run source check on their draft before they turn it into you. When they do that, it also returns to them resources for the errors that they made, so they can really take a moment and learn rather than just getting caught and not really learning from the experience. So you can see there are a lot of settings here around source check. It's a really helpful tool. And then you get into the drafts. So it's very easy to move drafts up and down once you've created them, to delete them entirely, add a new draft. And all of the drafts have the same element. So I'm just going to step through each element here. It can be instructor or peer review. We do have a great peer review process that really guides students, make sure they know what they need to do next and what they need to do for their peers. You can enable or disable a revision plan. One of the really great parts about Achieve is that it gives you visibility into what the student is doing with your feedback. So if you enable a revision plan, the student will have to create a checklist based on feedback, essentially a checklist, a strategy based on the feedback that you've left for them. And then you can see that revision plan and you can talk with them about it. So that's a really great tool to look into further when you really start using Achieve. And here are some additional source check settings because I turned it on for this assignment. You see them here. And then we get into the instructions for this draft and the draft goals. So we allow up to 6 draft goals per draft. And these are really great because they focus the student on, they understand what you're going to be looking at their paper for. And then it just helps focus what they're thinking about. And this also comes back when I show you leaving feedback. You'll see how the draft goals come into play there. Now the draft goals, I'm going to open this up. We have a small collection of them available for you. Whoops, let me unselect these so I can show you what I want to show you. You can choose from these. You can, of course, create your own and it would travel with you in the course. You could take a look at our thesis draft goal. It's not, that's the wrong one. You could take a look at our evidence draft goal and decide you want to change it. You choose edit. It all opens up for you. But I don't want to do that, so I'm going to cancel. Get out of here. Just wanted to show you that that is available for you, and you don't have to use them if you don't want to. And then reflection questions. Again, we have a small library available to you to use. You will see when I show you feedback how these come into play, and you can always create your own. Now, this draft I want to show you because it is a peer review draft, and there are two different elements here. You have a peer review instruction section and a peer review reflection question section. These are really important for peer review, for getting students through the process, getting them to think more critically about what they're doing and to give more thoughtful feedback to their fellow students. So those are the elements of a writing assignment. I'm going to go back out and go into an assignment that I already have set up with some student writing in it to show you what it looks like to leave some feedback. Computer is really having a hard time right now. Okay, go into my course. I'm going to go into my assignment here. And because students have already started submitting work for this, you notice that instead of being brought to the prompts area, I'm brought to the submissions tab. I'm going to go into this student because I see my feedback is in progress with her. And notice that the reflection that we talked about is brought right up to the front. So you're getting insight into what the student was thinking when they submitted the paper. The source check is also brought right up to the front. Here is where you would go to see that report and to see the side-by-side of the student's work and the source's work. And also, I sort of blew past this. This draft comparison button is really important. If this particular assignment was only one draft, but if I had multiple drafts, I would be able to turn this on and look at side by side the student's first draft with comments and the student's second draft and see if they've made changes, ask them why they didn't take action on some feedback they received, perhaps. Really useful side by side view. Then you get into the paper, and it's really simple to leave feedback. I'm going to go down to an area where I maybe don't have as many, down here. You just select an area that you want to leave a comment on, and you get a pop-up. You can leave an open comment on anything that you want to talk about. You just click that, give it a level. We only have these 3 levels. Add a comment if you want, and press save. Now you can edit and delete your comments at any time up until the moment you send the paper to the student. If you want to leave another comment, here we have those draft goals that start to come into play. You get a drop down of the draft goals that you selected for the paper. You choose one, and again, you level it. And then there's a default comment, which you can remove and add your own if you like. And when you press save, because we know what you're commenting on, we're able to offer the student resources right here. And when they're viewing their feedback, they can click the resource and be brought right to an eBook page to help them learn and grow and understand the comment. Now, every time you make one of these comments, because we're in an online environment, we can start bubbling up trends that are happening in this paper and across papers. And I'll show you that as the very last piece of this in our reporting tabs. And then finally, you can make an editing mark. So this is sort of a little bit more of the mechanical grading that this will hopefully speed up some of your grading. So, if there's a comma error, you can choose this. A little pre-written definition pops right in. You can add a comment if you want and press save. And again, because we know what you're commenting on, we can send the student to resources that will help them improve. And a really important piece in this editing marks is this: add modify editing marks. If there is something you say a lot or you find that you're saying a lot, you can just turn it into an editing mark, and then it will populate for you here in this drop-down list. So when you're all done commenting on the student's paper, if it's the final draft, I went a little too fast, you will leave a numerical grade here, leave an open comment if you wish, and then if you're using a rubric, you'll just fill out the rubric and you'll be done. So now, really briefly, I want to show you the reporting tab. I'm going to go back out right here in this reports tab. So we have 2 levels of reporting. This one is on the assignment level. Just gives you quick insight into average grade, how many students have done it, breakdown of the average rubric scores per category, draft goals, how many comments you're leaving at each level for each of the draft goals that you selected, and how many comments of editing marks you're making, you're leaving. So then we do have that final navigation panel, that navigation item that I told you about is the course level reporting. Oh, it didn't go back. There we go. Here, your reports tab. So this is looking at your course as a whole, your assignments, excuse me, as a whole. And you get this awesome little heat map per assignment, the average rubric score. If anyone had a low score, it'd be showing up in pink. This is a really helpful visual view into what's going on in your course. And this is maybe one of my favorite pieces of the reporting. Are my students reviewing my feedback? So here is the topic, are all the topics that you've left feedback on. And you can filter this little table to see which ones you've left the fewest or the most comments on, and which ones the students have not reviewed or have reviewed. And if you wanted, you can even dive in deeper. So evidence, I have left 16 comments and only 6 have been viewed. Well, let's see who's looked at them. And you can see right here how many you've left for the student and how many have been reviewed. So this is a really quick look at reports, a brief overview of writing tools, of navigating around in Achieve. Again, I want to pull up this contact page and really encourage you, please, at this yellow URL here, which we will share during bootcamp, of course, and after. If you haven't had a training with one of our experts, please absolutely spend that hour. That will really set you up for a strong fall. Thank you for coming to bootcamp, and we are really excited that you are using the hub. Please feel free to reach out to me, Amy, your rep. We are here for you.